University College Cork, Ireland. Today I'm in conversation with Mr. Dan MacSweeney, the recipient of the 2012 UCC Alumnus Achievement Award from the College of Science, Engineering and Food Science. Every year, University College Cork honours 5 individuals who, through their life's work, profession, have made an enormous impact, either in the region or on the global stage. It is a great pleasure that I welcome Dan MacSweeney to University College Cork this morning. In fact, welcome him back. Dan is a graduate of 1976, a dairy science graduate, and he is receiving this award for his work in the agri-business on a global stage, growing a company from modest roots to be a serious international player. Good morning, Dan, and welcome.
Morning, Jean.
So, Dan, tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from West Cork. I'm married. I've 2 sons. 2 sons who have come through UCC as well. So we're a UCC family. I am interested in walking, gardening, play a bit of golf. I follow sport a lot. And I obviously work in Carbery Group, which is a very important part of my life, and I'm sure we'll discuss that later on. So I'm living near Clonakilty. I travel about 15 minutes to work every morning, and I travel a lot around the world as part of my job as well. I'm from West Cork originally, so I'm very proud to be working in a company that's so important to the region in West Cork.
And did you always think that you would work in West Cork, Dan?
Not necessarily. When I left college in 1976, I spent the first 3 years of my career working in the pharmaceutical industry. Mm-hmm. I worked in a company called Sinderen Limited in County Clare. I think it's now called Roche Chemicals.
Right.
And that was a great experience for 3 years, because we were involved in the startup of a very large pharmaceutical unit up there. Then I came down to Carbery. I was always interested in Carbery because it was a company that had a very interesting profile. For example, even back in the late 70s, it was seen as a very innovative company. It, for example, at that time had set up a plant for manufacturing alcohol from milk, which everybody was interested in and everybody thought was quite unique. So I was, when I got the opportunity of coming back to West Cork, I grabbed it with both hands, and I was fortunate enough to get a job in Carbery in 1979.
In 1979. And so when you entered the group, what were you doing first?
I started off working as a production manager in the protein department, and I worked in that job for approximately maybe 9 years. And then at that time, of course, maybe it's important to explain the structure of Carbery.
Sure.
Back then we were part of Grand Metropolitan, which was a major multinational. Grand Metropolitan subsequently joined Guinness to form Diageo. But back then Grand Metropolitan had a number of beverage and food interests, and we were part of its food business, and we were part of that business right up until 1992. At that stage then, Grand Metropolitan sold its food interests, and the interest that they had in Carbery was bought by the 4 West Cork cooperatives.
What 4 are they? Bandon,
Barryroe, Drina and Lissavard. So they own Carbery and have owned Carbery since 1992. So prior to 1992, we were a small part of a very large multinational, which was, a particular situation that we were in. Then in 1992, our situation changed because we became like an independent dairy company based in West Cork. And we had, I guess, both the challenge and the opportunity of developing the business on behalf of our shareholders and milk suppliers, and on behalf of the region as well. So we set about, doing that, and at the time we had a very talented and energetic team, and I was privileged to be part of that team. And we set about growing the business, and we looked at the environment that we were going to be working in for the next 10 or 15 years, and we came to the conclusion that with European milk quotas being in place for quite a significant period of time after that. That the only way we could grow our business was to invest, in various, food businesses worldwide, and we focused very much on investing in the flavour industry. And since then, we have grown the business, particularly in the last 10 or 15 years. We've grown it quite dramatically. We now have 4 flavour sites in North America. We have 1 in South America. We have 2 in the UK, and we have 1 in Southeast Asia. So the business is now an international business. We've gone full circle, as it were. We started off as a small part of a very large multinational, Now we're again in international business, but very differently this time. Our headquarters is in West Cork and Balneen, and our subsidiaries are based around the world, as I described.
Incredible. In terms of the number of milk providers, because I'm trying to get a sense of the impact of this business, particularly in this region. How many livelihoods, for example, is it supporting?
Well, I suppose directly on employment in Balneen itself, we have about 220 people.
Right.
The group worldwide has about 530 employees, so it is about 220 based in Balneen. So that's a very important employment, but just as important, we process the milk for approximately 1,450 farmers. Okay. And those farmers are farming from an area roughly from Kinsale in the east, all the ways down to Castletown Bear, down in the peninsulas. So you've got a big, a diverse group of farmers. Some of them are smaller farmers. Some of them are quite substantial. The farming in West Cork is very much a family farming enterprise. So it's very supportive to the local economy. Mm-hmm. The money that comes back from the marketplace through Carbery to the dairy farmers ends up in the local economy. Because the farmer, when he gets money, when the farmer gets a good income, they spend the money locally. They spend it in the local towns and villages, and that keeps the economy of the region going. So when the dairy industry is going well, the economy is going well.
No doubt. And the challenge, the opportunity now that you have in the next few years,
yes,
with change in legislation, are you well placed to exploit the opportunity?
We think so. We think so. Yeah. We've done surveys with our farmers, and the surveys would suggest that our farmers intend increasing their milk supply by about 45% between 2015 and 2020. That's a very significant increase. It's very good for them because they'll be able to become more efficient. Mm-hmm. They've been constrained by milk quotas for the last something like 20 years or more, 25 years. And obviously it's going to present a challenge to us because we've got to process this extra milk and we've got to get it to market and we've got to try and add value to it. But that's very much well in hand with us. We actually have processing capacity in place to handle that volume of milk as we speak. So we're looking forward to the increased volumes, and it's going to bring more income back again into the West Cork economy. Hopefully up to 45% more money going back to the economy through milk price, which we think is good.
Excellent. Going back to you chose to study dairy science at University College Cork, and you graduated and went into the pharmaceutical industry.
Yes.
And then back into the dairy industry.
Yes.
Can you comment on your education and the relevance of it to the role and the work that you do now?
Well, first of all, maybe to talk about the, when I came to college first, I think the faculty at the time was a very small faculty. It's probably before your time, Jean, but well before it.
Few days.
But when I came to college, I think the average class size might have been 25.
Yeah.
So we were a very small faculty, and there was a great sort of a friendship amongst all the students there. And we used to hang out a lot in the old Dairy Science building in Donovan's Road. I'm not so sure what it's called these days, but it used to be called the Dairy Science building. So we was together in the common room there. So, we all got to know each other very well, and I make that point because those friendships have gone right, have lasted 20, 30 years because even though guys went into different companies, the friendships have been maintained, and that's been quite helpful in business as time has gone on. We also were very friendly with the lecturers, not too friendly because I'm sure they marked our exams quite strongly, but we knew the lecturers very well, and we also had a very strong relationship with the lecturers, and that relationship, I think, that was built while we were going to college, sort of underpinned a very strong working relationship between the food industry in Ireland and the faculty here. As you probably know, it's a very strong relationship, and there's a lot of interaction between both parties, and that's been good for the college, and it's been good for us. The education that I received, I did a basic technical food science degree. The science part of it was strong. And that has stood to us over the years. Obviously, we had a good foundation going into industry, and the challenge over the years was to build different skills as we built our career. And obviously the key thing from my perspective in my career is that I had to build a lot of business skills, because what I ended up doing, down the line was that technical, whereas my basic degree was technical. And I suppose looking back on it, if I had any, lessons to be learned, I think it's very important for graduates coming from the college, whether they're technical graduates or otherwise, to have some exposure to business or entrepreneurial skills, because I think no matter what you're doing, no matter what degree you have, you're going to be involved in selling a service or selling a product or selling maybe a service within your company to another part of the company. So it's very important that you should be able to sell your skills. So I think that's something that that I think the college have really picked up on that anyway, and I think that's happening.
You're a business person on a global scale, and you do business internationally, excuse me, all the time. What would you say are the skills that the Irish people have that could be regarded as better even than others? What is it about the Irish in business? You spoke there earlier about the networks that we cultivate. You spoke about maybe communication skills and that. Are there things that you think are specific to the Irish people which make us good business people nationally and internationally?
That's an interesting question. We take graduates from places like UCC, and sometimes we place them in businesses in various parts of the world. And the feedback on them is always generally very positive. And I think that the quality of graduate coming from University College Cork at the moment, for example, I would see a lot of the students, the graduates from the college. I think they're very impressive because, the first thing about them that you notice is that they're very confident. I think that's a big change over the years. I think young people these days are very confident. They're very expert in their chosen field. But I think that they have the belief in themselves that they can add value to a business. I also believe that Irish graduates are very flexible. That if you set them a task, they're prepared to have a go of it. I think that sets them apart a little bit from maybe other nationalities who are more, streamlined in their approach to things and more tramlined. And we're very impressed with the quality of graduates that we see, and we see a lot of them because we see them through hiring graduates and also through our placement program. And I think that I think that Irish people add to our business abroad. We don't flood our businesses abroad with Irish people. It's not our policy, but we have a lot of Irish people in our business, and I think they add very well to a team mix.
You mentioned the Alumni Network. Well, you spoke of it in the context of the relationships forged in the university and during your university days. And I mean, today the Alumni Network of University College Cork is 100,000 worldwide. And we are always encouraging people to link into that network because of the opportunities and the doors which can be opened both professionally and socially. I presume that you have, you mentioned it, that in your business life, that the network of graduates throughout the world have probably helped you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing because people that you know, going through college, they could be working in different businesses. They could be working in Ireland. They could be working in the UK or working in the States. And if there's particular issues that you have to resolve over the years, from time to time, various people have various pockets of knowledge that you can work with. And a very important link all the time for me has been back to UCC and back to the lecturers that I worked with when I was going to college back in the 70s, because while you think that's a long time ago, some of them are actually still involved in industry. And people like Pat Fox, people still go to Pat for advice because he was always seen as an expert in his field. And that's Charlie Daly was always very close to industries, because he was a pioneer actually in that area, I believe, in getting work going and getting various projects going at industry back in the 80s. So those links are very important, and like business is all about networking, and business is all about people at the end of the day. It's not about stainless steel or bits of lab equipment or whatever. It's all about people and their skills. And the one thing that I've learned over the years is that if you have good people, you get things done.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I'm reminded to a Chinese proverb which says, if you want 1 year of prosperity, grow rice. If you want 10 years of prosperity, grow trees. And if you want 100 years of prosperity, grow people.
And that's very interesting, and I can resonate with that certainly.
Dan, the brand of University College Cork is essentially a tradition of independent thinking. Drawing on your experience, your education at the university, and the links that you've had with it throughout your professional life, and I think your personal life, because I understand your children, at least one of them are studying here. Is there anything that you can say that helps us or helps reinforcement of that brand? A tradition of independent thinking. Yeah,
that's an interesting question actually, Jean, and it's one that I have to think a little bit about. Where I'm not so sure, how the culture of independent thinking is implemented, in UCC, or how people subscribe to it. But obviously a culture is very important in any organisation, so there's obviously a culture of independent thinking in University College Cork. Where we would see it would be in the graduates that come from UCC, and also maybe in the type of research that's done. And again go back to the to the quality of graduate that we see coming from UCC. We don't want to hire graduates who are just technically proficient in what they have studied. When we are interviewing graduates, we're always looking for people with the potential to be leaders, and to try and get to that phase of thinking. By the time you're 21 or 22 years of age, you need support which goes beyond the academic, support that people get going to college. What I found going to college was that, and I'm sure most colleges are the same, but certainly in UCC I can say that there was a tremendous extracurricular amount of stuff that you could actually do in UCC that was very helpful in forming people's careers. It's important that people learn to think for themselves. I think it's very important that people think about entrepreneurial issues when they're going to college, even when they're immersed in technical science. I think it's important that people learn to communicate properly. And generally speaking, the really good graduates that I see coming from UCC, as I say, they're confident, they're really well able to present themselves, and I think they're people that you'd be very proud if they were representing your company in any forum that they wish to represent your company in the future. So from the point of view of graduates, I think that's good. I think from the point of view of research, I think it's important that researchers also have an independent focus, because it's very important that people research the right things. Research can be very interesting, of course, and you can research all sorts of stuff that may not be beneficial to society, and at the end of the day universities are funded by the public purse, I guess, a lot of the time. So it's very important that researchers, I think, need to be able to stand up, and they need to be able to say, I want to work in this because this is a great benefit to society, or this is going to be of great benefit to industry, or this is a really interesting thing, that'll create employment back in society. So I think, it's very important that people are able to think for themselves, are able to express themselves, and really leave the college as strong individuals.
Well, I have to say that University College Cork is exceptionally proud of you, Dan, and wish you continued success in what it is you're doing in heading, leading Carbery. And just to say thank you very, very much for accepting this award, and every happiness in the future. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Jane. And the one thing I would like to say is that I'm delighted to receive the award. It's very prestigious. And when I look at the other recipients, I see that I'm in very good company.
You are in good company, Dan, and they are too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.